So in this video, I'm going to explain Chapter 3 of Tomie from the Junji Ito collection. Before watching this video, make sure to check out Chapters 1 and 2. Chapter 3. Basement. So now, rumors have started spreading among the other patients in Morita Hospital about Yukiko's operation. They say that there is a kidney from which limbs and a head are growing, and it is still kept in a dark room in the basement. The scene shifts to one of the hospital's patients, Omihito Satu. A nurse comes into his room to check his temperature, but Satu asks her about the rumors. The nurse dismisses them as just rumors and leaves. However, Satu secretly follows her and overhears her conversation with the doctors. The nurse tells the doctors that the patients are scared and are talking about getting transferred to another hospital. Then, they recall the entire incident. How, a month ago, they had found the body of a teenage girl who had been murdered by her boyfriend. There, they were also treating Yukiko, who urgently needed a kidney. The blood type of that teenage girl matched Yukiko's, and just then, a man appeared, claiming to be the girl's father. He called her Hanako and agreed to donate her kidney. The doctors proceeded with the kidney transplant, but soon after, the man mysteriously disappeared. At first, the operation was successful, but a few days later, the kidney started growing limbs and a head. Then, we see that very kidney and head stored inside a tank. It was the head that had to be cut out from Yukiko's stomach. However, within a few hours, it began regenerating again. The doctors then discuss planarians and flatworms, organisms that can regrow when cut into pieces. But for a kidney to do this should be impossible. They blame themselves, realizing that their haste might have put Yukiko at risk as well. After hearing everything, Satu starts heading toward Yukiko's room. When he reaches her door, he notices that visitors are not allowed inside. But Satu still goes inside. Hearing the noise, Yukiko thinks it's Tadashi, but then she asks who he is. Satu introduces himself and says, "I heard you had surgery, but you seem fine." He then asks her about Tadashi. Just then, the doctors enter, and their attention immediately shifts to Yukiko. They yell at her, saying that she just had surgery and shouldn't be moving, or else her wounds could reopen. Meanwhile, Satu sneaks out unnoticed. Next, we see the hospital director talking to Dr. Tamura. The director is concerned about Yukiko's unusually fast recovery, suspecting that it might be due to the transplanted kidney. They fear that some of the kidney's tissues might have remained inside her, potentially enhancing human regeneration. Following this, Yukiko undergoes an examination, revealing that the kidney's cells have spread throughout her entire body. Then, we see the director and Dr. Tamura transporting Tomie's head to a special room, where they plan to expose it to gamma rays. The scene shifts to the hospital terrace, where Satu and Yukiko are talking. Satu flirts with Yukiko, and she mentions that her father is a sailor, and she has been waiting for his return. Meanwhile, back with the director and Dr. Tamura, we see that Tomie's head is regenerating even faster due to the gamma rays. Then, Tomie suddenly speaks, telling Dr. Tamura to let her out. She also reveals that someone has been watching her for a long time, from the cabinet across the room. When Dr. Tamura asks for her name, she replies, "My name is Tomie," and tells him that she likes him. She then asks him to let her out. Frightened, Dr. Tamura quickly leaves and orders the basement to be permanently sealed. However, the director refuses to do so. Dr. Tamura insists that he won't be involved anymore. The director will have to handle everything on his own. The scene shifts to Satu, who decides to go down to the basement. As he reaches the supply room, he hears noises coming from inside. Suddenly, the door begins to open by itself. A man steps out and quietly walks away, heading toward the top floor. Taking this chance, Satu sneaks into the room and is shocked to see Tomie, now fully regenerated. However, she is completely unclothed, so he quickly leaves. As he heads back to his room, he suddenly feels a sharp pain in his appendix. Meanwhile, Tomie steps out of the tank and starts walking toward Yukiko's room. Upon seeing her, Yukiko is terrified. Tomie accuses her, saying that Tadashi was the one who killed her, and now Yukiko will have to take the blame. Panicked, Yukiko screams loudly. Tomie grabs her face, trying to silence her. Just then, Dr. Tamura enters the room. He pushes Tomie away and checks on Yukiko, but as he turns to look at Tomie, he is stunned. She is incredibly beautiful. As I mentioned in my previous video, every time Tomie is reborn, she becomes even more beautiful. The next morning, the director arrives to check on her, only to find that Tomie is missing. He is shocked, wondering how she managed to regenerate overnight and escape from the tank all on her own. But in reality, Dr. Tamura has been hiding Tomie in his room and forbids her from going outside. A few days later, the doctors discuss Yukiko, noticing that she is healing at an unnatural speed. Not only that, but her personality is changing. Her height suddenly increases, her hair grows longer, and she becomes more beautiful. Later, Yukiko visits Satu's room, and he immediately notices that something about her feels different. Yukiko tells him that she is feeling more confident now. She talks about her dreams with her boyfriend, who used to be Tadashi. But now, she hints that it could be Satu instead. However, Satu prefers the old Yukiko. Angered by this, Yukiko gets up to leave. Satu tries to follow her, but his appendix pain flares up again. Instead of showing concern, Yukiko coldly blames him and shuts the door to her room. From outside, Satu murmurs that she wasn't like this before. Just yesterday, she was a gentle, quiet, and kind girl, but now she has completely changed. Inside her room, Yukiko says that she will leave the hospital tomorrow and go find Tadashi. Then, she suddenly realizes that something is truly wrong. Looking into the mirror, she is horrified. Her face has transformed into Tomie's. Then, when Dr. Tamura and the director check the basement room, they see that Tomie has taken the kidney out of the tank, and right before their eyes, she burns it. In response, Dr. Tamura grabs Tomie and tells the director to bring a fire extinguisher. When Tamura demands an explanation, Tomie calmly asks, "What were you planning to do with this monster?" She then invites Tamura to come with her to her room, but he pushes her away and asks where she got the kerosene canister. However, Tomie wasn't the one who brought it. Realizing this, Tamura starts thinking about using Tomie herself for his research. Just then, the same man who had claimed to be Tomie's father emerges from the cabinet. Holding the oil can, he begins pouring it all around. He then steps out of the basement and sets everything on fire, causing the entire hospital to go up in flames. Meanwhile, Satu rushes to Yukiko's room to save her, only to be shocked at what he sees. Her face has completely transformed into Tomie's. At that moment, Tomie takes full control over her new body and calmly walks out of the burning hospital. The next morning, 3 bodies are found in the basement. The director, Dr. Tamura, and an unidentified woman. And with that, Chapter 3 comes to an end. Now, let me know in the comments, how did you like this video?